Welcome to Koz and Bru Show.
Yeah.
What's up, brother Koz?
I'm excited, man. It's Olympic season.
It is Olympic season when you were looking up Hoda. Is that her name? Hoda?
Hoda.
Hoda from the Today Show.
Yes.
Which we're watching in the background because it's Olympic season.
Yes.
You gotta watch NBC. It's Olympic season, right?
Absolutely.
You gotta watch it at some point.
I don't think I watch NBC for anything, but for Olympic time, it's a good time.
Well, they got football.
They do have football.
Presuming, of course, that the football game actually happens, which was the problem with last night's game.
I was wondering, why that was not on. I kind of was flipping through the channels, and then, I didn't really see it, and then I just, tossed up my hands and thought maybe it was on earlier in the day, but turns out no. Now, what was the reason for that?
I'm not sure, but I think they painted the lines on the field either too late or with the wrong materials. Gosh. And apparently landing on them would have been some disaster for the players. So
the paint?
The paint, yeah.
You'd think that having a 300-pound man land on you would be probably the bigger concern.
See, you're going to be like all the people on Twitter that are calling these players out for not playing.
I mean, I'm sure it was made above the. Was it with the players? Would they go out in the field and say this is no good, or
I think both coaches went out and said that it was no good.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
well, maybe it was more of a. See, that seems more like a thing of if they stepped and planted that there's going to be ankles and knee issues.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Coaches usually
it
don't
was
care about people's pain. You know,
it was a legit reason because the coaches want to see these guys play at least a little bit.
Yeah,
and you don't want any injuries in preseason. I don't even know if they should have preseason games anymore.
There's a lot of the preseason. I remember listening to Troy Aikman talk about it, and he was like completely unnecessary. We should get rid of it. And I think it's more just. I think it's for the coaches for the last few spots.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I think I remember from my days of coaching basketball. Some people are just gamers. Some people just don't look good in practice. Some people don't look good in drills. And then you get them in a game situation and they just make plays. And so I could see the last 10 spots or so, you got to see him play because you don't know. If a guy's got all the physical tools, he looks the part, you'd want to see him in a game even though he's stinking it up in practice,
Yeah, I don't want to talk about football, though.
Why?
Because I'm turning anti-football.
I know you are.
I don't know why. Maybe it's the the concussion stuff going on.
Concussion. That got me wondering, because what's his name has a concussion in race driving? Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's been out for a while, and there seems to be no end in sight. And it just is strange that I know everyone's body is different, but in football, they seem to get through that protocol so fast. Here's a race car driver. It's been 2.5 months or something since he's been out there. And I've heard, I don't follow NASCAR, but from what I understand, they're probably the best of the organizations as far as, concussion, as far as how they deal with the drivers, punishments for certain things. And I feel like if they're taking this long with him, I feel like everybody should probably be taking a lot longer.
This is where Dr. Brew comes in and saves Koz. They're all different. All the I can't stop saying that word.
Stop saying what?
Commission. I don't know why commission is on my mind. Concussions are different because just the severity of them. And then so in a sport like racing, I'm sure that they want to be extra careful because they have the reaction time of going at 200 miles an hour around the track is, it's a big deal. Guys like Carlos Delfino missed something like 4 or 5 months.
Who's Carlos Delfino?
Milwaukee Bucks, about four years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Missed at least 4 months.
He's like a 6'5"-ish?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Okay.
He's playing, I believe, this year in the Olympics, which is going on right now. That was actually, it's kind of a nice reprieve from a slow summer month.
Yes.
The Olympics brought us kind of basically NBA action, and not necessarily on the Team USA side because they beat China for the third time.
What's the deal? They knew they were in that group, right? Why did they play China all those times in the pre-lead up to the Olympics? if they were just have him in the first group automatically.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like for China's sake, I mean, you don't want to have to play a team that's just pounded you by 40 twice.
It had to be for money reasons.
Sure, I guess.
mean, I don't know, where did they play? I thought they played at.
They played in Oakland and they played in I think in
LA. So both of those make sense.
Vegas, I think. Vegas.
See, that doesn't make sense.
Or maybe it was Los Angeles. Los Angeles or Vegas, and then.
You know who was impressive was Yi Jianlian. The old 7-footer that came across.
Oh, that was supposed to be the 3-point shooting version of Yao Ming?
Yeah, high draft pick that never really panned out in the NBA.
Yes.
He actually looked pretty good. He was,
how old is he now?
He's probably like 28, 29, so he's in his prime.
Yeah.
I mean, he was getting rebounds and pushing pace and showed the dribbles off and, kind of the overall game, and I thought, you know what, hey, he could play.
Yeah.
Like, he's definitely better than, say, like Dwight Powell is right now.
Sure.
Who he kind of reminds me of.
The Clippers?
Oh, no. Who drafted Yi?
Dallas.
No, it was the Bucks.
The Bucks.
That drafted Yi, I think. Okay. We'll get Stat Boy on that.
Stat Boy. And also, do something about that Heat, Stat Boy. Killing me. It's like I know it's Olympics. You're trying to make it like Brazil in this room.
Well, we told them to do it before the show.
I know. Golly.
Not a lot to talk about in the NBA. Russell Westbrook has signed since we had our last show. Oh, yeah, sorry, folks. We took a week off.
Yes.
Deal with it.
That's about right.
That's all I got for that. We do it once a year, usually unannounced.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Usually unannounced and with no rhyme or reason to it, but that was last week.
No, Russell Westbrook signs an extension with Oklahoma City, and it set off a chain reaction of events that we're still getting the story trickling out. So today the story was that Kevin Durant didn't want to deal with the pressure of being in the spotlight in Oklahoma City. And Koz is giving me this look like something's crazy here.
What? I hope that's not true. Because
the thought process, now actually let me get this out here correctly. Royce Young in a report discussed Kevin Durant's thought process. So we're now like 3 layers of Inception deep.
Yeah, right.
On what's actually going on here. And this has been happening throughout the weeks. Is this kind of, and Royce is actually as qualified as anybody to report on this particular subject. I feel
because of his degree in psychology, or because he actually talked to the guy.
Probably because he actually talked to the guy.
Okay.
But the idea of being the main cog in a one sport town, and especially in Oklahoma City, where they're just it's a first time sports town.
Yeah.
In major sports. So he carried the burden of everything. Now, the devil's advocate argument to that, as our own Mike Passador wrote about today, is that doesn't really stand up to scrutiny now that you're the biggest villain in the NBA,
right,
other than your teammate Draymond Green,
right,
who can't seem to keep his pants on
right
around a camera. I don't know. Did we get a chance to cover that?
No, we didn't.
That was
no, we didn't.
God, a lot. Maybe there has been a lot that's happened since we've been on the show.
Yeah, I didn't actually see what he sent. It was a picture of him.
It's just a dick pic. Just a standard old dick pic.
I remember when Brett Favre was sending his to that lady.
You remember when Chris Cooley did it? This is before it was cool to do it. Chris Cooley. His excuse actually seemed somewhat plausible. He said he accidentally took the picture, like sitting at the dinner table, which was hilarious. He's like, "Who does that at the dinner table?"
Yeah,
but
like, seriously, how did that? What was the chain of events that caused that to happen on accident?
This was maybe like I think a year before Twitter was a big deal, so he had to like post it to a website. Somebody needs to
go out of his way to actually
5-part series on the evolution of the dick pic.
God, yeah,
where we are today.
I'll just never forget. Yeah, Brett Favre, his schlong and his Crocs in the hotel room, sending it to the intern. And what was best about Brett Favre was that, and
this is topical, by the way.
Yeah, he went into the Hall of Fame. So, but what was best about Brett Favre is like the lady he was sexually harassing was literally like a 20-year younger version of his wife. So it was like, Brett's definitely got a type. You know, you put her and his wife right up next to each other. It was her 20 years ago. And it was like, oh, Brett.
I'm sure Brett's wife was thrilled about that.
Yeah. Yes, indeedy.
Yeah, so Hall of Fame inductions. So it was It was Brett. It was, there was another big name that went in.
Some other guy?
Orlando Pace went in. You know, if you're a football, football nut, you know how good Orlando Pace is or was. And he actually, I thought it was just kind of an interesting footnote that he thanked St. Louis.
Nice.
And then the NFL so kindly edited that stuff out. God. Of their video stuff.
Yeah.
Because they don't want anybody talking about St. Louis and leaving town.
It's like it never existed.
You know, people used to get away with that stuff all the time in the sports world. Whether it was the ESPN era of when ESPN actually mattered back in the day. Yeah. You just edit stuff out. You just probably change what people said. The movie Running Man really did set the table for the future.
Who was that? Arnold?
That was Arnold, and the gal in that movie was awesome.
Oh, it was so it was Marvin Harrison, who still got that murder rap hanging over his head. Tony Dungy. Oh, Kevin Green, the pass rusher, went in. Orlando Pace, Eddie DeBartolo. Ken Stabler. Was nice of them to get him in since he's dead now.
Wow, they finally got him in there.
Yes, indeed. Like, yeah, he died last year. Like, oh, okay, he's waited long enough.
that must have been some beef with Al Davis. Like,
oh, of course. Oh, it's just all every great Raider that takes forever. It's all because of the NFL's hate for Al Davis. No doubt about it.
So Olympics wise, though, we had some good action. Like the Dario Saric block was just a real good game. I didn't get to catch all of it. But
which game was this?
Croatia against Spain.
Oh, okay.
And both teams have a lot of NBA talent on them. Pau Gasol's still out there playing when most players his age would be wise to sit the sidelines.
Yeah.
Not Pau.
No.
Now, Pau wants to play, and that's why Pau Gasol is so great. Him and Dirk, both.
Yeah.
Get out there, they lace it up, and it somehow doesn't have an impact on their bodies.
Yeah.
I mean...
Pau's got one of those bodies, though, that as long as his feet stay okay, he's got kind of that Kareem type of build that he could probably play for 5 more years, you know what I mean? Like some of those guys, you know, like he just has that kind of lanky...
It's a game that's not really relying on quickness, more feel and finesse. And, but at the same time, he's still big enough to bang around down there.
Bang around and make an impact that way, too, yeah.
He had a pretty good game, but they went to him, Spain went to him for the final shot, and Dario Saric came out of nowhere, really, and just blocked it at the final second. It was right at the rim. His timing on it was really good because he started his jump before Pau. I mean, Pau probably started his move a split second before Dario started his jump, and Dario knew that the clock was about to go off, so that's why he got up in the air, and he got up real high. And he blocked the crap out of him. It just looked great at the end of the game. Now, Dario's game was kind of middling, so he'll probably get more pub for the last play than he deserves.
Yeah.
A lot of folks started chanting "Trust the process" on the internet. This was a crowning moment for the Sam Hinkie.
For the Hinkie era. I told you he was going to be great. Did you see that block? Trust the process.
Australia worked France. Just absolutely worked them. And a lot of folks had France as the number 2 team.
That's what I did. I certainly did.
They looked terrible. And everybody seemed to want to blame it on Rudy Gobert. And I was having a real tough time with that because the defense was breaking down everywhere. I mean, they got beat on backdoor cuts so much.
Who is Batum playing?
Yes.
So get Parker's out there, Batum, Boris.
Mm-hmm.
Who we got? Is the one kid that got drafted that we like? He's got to be playing, right?
Yeah, that one guy.
You know, the one that what was he? Who took him? Was it Chicago?
Hold on, I will go to the NBC. I don't want to put this on NBC. This is like the Olympics box scores, which are the most terrible box scores I've ever seen in my entire life. Worthy of mention because they've got 2 separate pages. If you want to see rebounds, assists, and steals, it's on one page. If you'd like to see everything else, it's on another page.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not good, but the Australian team is starting to get dangerous. They're between Patty Mills, you got Matthew Dellavedova, then you've got Bogut. I believe Aaron Baines is on that team. Mm-hmm. They're getting stocked.
Yeah.
With NBA talent. They just came out there and just backdoored them to death. And it was ugly. So France now has to, win a couple games here to get back into things, and we'll see. We're saying before the show, Team USA is pretty far ahead of the pack.
Yeah.
I mean, they've played China 3 straight times, so I don't know what's going to happen when they play a non-Chinese team. Things could just fall off the rails. But I don't know. And then there was a report that the guys went out and they went to a brothel.
The USA team,
Team
right?
USA went to a brothel. This sounds like the biggest non-report that's out there. But, you get NBA players. Actually, did you see Blake Griffin's stand-up comedy routine?
I did not. I heard it was good, though.
It was damn good.
Yeah, that's funny. He's funny.
This went beyond funny, and it went into professional comedian territory. Now, there was definitely some raw edges there on his routine. He came out a little bit nervous.
Oh, I can imagine.
But not that nervous.
Yeah.
And he definitely got it all figured out, and then the timing was just, I've definitely seen worse comedians on the stage.
Right. And
then the actual bit was hilarious. It was about strip clubs and
oh, really?
Just kind of the whole, mostly about strip clubs.
Okay.
Definitely go out there and check that out. But the guys went out to a strip club and apparently just ordered a drink and left.
The USA team?
I don't want to even say who because I feel like this report is so bunk.
Yeah.
I'm sure they probably have partaken in some sort of activity of that ilk.
Right. The thing, though, like in a lot of countries, they might have thought they were going to a club.
Oh, yeah. It's a combined experience.
Exactly. It's a club with a little bit extra if you so choose to make it. So, it's not that doesn't, I guess, even if that happened, that doesn't like shock me,
You're not shocked?
Not shocked, but I'm interested to see. Like, I want them to do a story. Where's Hoda? Because anybody who watched the opening ceremonies, Hoda of the Today Show was literally itching to get down there and be a part of that of the opening ceremony. Like, she couldn't stop dancing. She kept on saying, "Oh my God, I just want to get out there and dance. I just want to get out there and dance." Finally, Matt Lauer, she goes, "What am I not out there?" And Matt Lauer goes, "Because you're not Brazilian." And like, there was this kind of awkward silence.
Did you watch the opening ceremony?
Oh yeah.
I couldn't make it.
Oh, it was.
How long did you stick it out?
We went all the way, the whole opening act, and then all the way through like a couple countries past the U.S., which they did the Spanish.
Where did they put the U.S. out there?
Well, they did it through. They did it with the, I guess in Spanish or Portuguese. They had it spelled with the E. The estadios. So they were way up.
So they were E.
Yeah, normally they're U.
So you made it from A to E though.
Yeah, probably through G. I went probably to G before we turned. But like the best part was they had Giselle.
Oh, yeah, Giselle had a great part in that. She
strutted out there, just strutting, I don't know, it seemed like 100 meters or something.
Well, she strutted the entire length of the
thing,
deal.
Yeah. So then her strut part's done, and then when it's... Then when it's finally at the end, really crazy dancing, she's in this sort of like they try to make it seem like she just wandered up into her crowd and started dancing. Obviously, like they had a certain spot for her, but they went back to her every 6 seconds. Like they're showing the floor dancing, back to Giselle, floor, back to Giselle. It was that, between that and the amount of times they said, coming up soon, Michael Phelps leads the U.S. team on to they must
NBC got slammed for their coverage.
Dude,
just slammed.
But it's always bad. It's just because there's like Twitter and stuff now. People are able to voice it immediately. It's been bad since 1984.
But they actually had this really interesting press release, and I was just sitting there thinking, who put this out there? Like, was it an intern? Just like everybody gone for the day, and just like the janitor was like, "Oh, I better respond to this."
Oh, respond to all the negativity?
Yeah, all the negativity, and I don't even know what it was about. It was like about the time zones and the coverage itself, and probably the chatter on TV. You know, it's pointless drivel at most or at best. So they're like. Something like, most of our audience is women, and they don't care about sports, and they just care about the stories of how people got here.
Yeah.
So really, it's just a few angry sports writers that are upset. I mean, it was this like totally misogynistic sort of like, you just don't write that in a press release. So everybody got upset about that.
The response to the response.
Yeah, the response to the response was not a good response. So I actually started watching it, and you kind of just wish you were back in college, when you're watching these things, because they're all trippy. Right?
Oh, I thought you were going to say because you can make it into a drinking game. Like if I was in college, I would definitely be...
You make it into some sort of game, yeah.
The amount of times they said Michael Phelps, or the amount of... We would have definitely had a number, or we had to, definitely have to take a shot or something every time they showed Giselle. Like... It would have been great.
Yeah, the visual effects. It's like kind of like a Pink Floyd show. That's what you're looking for in these things. I bought mine TV 8 years ago. It's still alive, thank God.
Nice.
And for the China Olympics.
Right.
Now that one was on fire.
That was a big to do.
Because I thought everything was choreographed a lot more intensely.
Yes.
So, you just thought you were in the middle of it. Yeah. And we watched on the new TV, and we turned down the lights, put up the stereo system. Might have gotten a little loose, and it was awesome. And they had that rolling LCD screen on the ground.
I felt in the Chinese one that if someone was to misstep, they may not have been heard of.
Yeah, that also added to it. They were the human death factor. It made me want to watch. I'm like, that guy's going to die.
Yeah, if that guy doesn't hit that drum exactly at the right time, we may never hear from him again.
That's why BetYourLife.com is so amazing.
Oh, yeah.
What else do we have here?
But I liked it. I thought it was really good, the dancing. I liked how they incorporated all the different musical influences of Brazil.
Speaking of Michael Phelps, he won.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he won his 19th gold medal.
Oh, yeah, with the relay, yes.
And,
I did know that.
That is just amazing. I mean, in the Olympics, where you pretty much have one shot in most sports.
Right.
To make it multiple times. Now, actually, I don't even want to bring this up because I don't even know if yeah, I'm not even going to go there.
All right.
But I will. Did he ever get popped for PEDs?
No, he had he had a picture of him smoking out of a bong or something once, but I don't think PEDs.
Totally performance enhancing.
Yes.
In this day and age, I mean, I heard the Paralympic team from Russia.
Yeah.
They got popped for PEDs.
And they're not allowed to. They couldn't go.
They can't even show up, huh?
Which struck me as odd that because there was all this Russian PED scandal, and it struck me as odd that they chose to penalize the Paralympic team. I figure, like, if you get into some sort of accident and you lose a leg and you still have the work ethic to learn a sport, you probably aren't going to use PEDs as opposed to the other athletes who have major endorsement dollars on the line and which the majority of the world is actually going to be watching. Like, who do you think has the biggest PED problem? The Paralympic team or the other athletes?
It's a great question. I don't know, man. Like, you look at some of this stuff and it's, like, you just don't know what the economics are behind a given situation. So you could maybe be in Russia, and maybe it's worth it to take those gambles. And they're not even close to thinking about the other moral implications and everything else that goes into a decision like that. And even like the Rio Olympics themselves, there was just this really kind of heartbreaking but awesome picture of kids watching from the slums on the side of a hill in some look like a war-torn scene out of a movie. There, and then the fireworks off at the $1 billion arena. You know, and all these places, they build the arena, you know, on the backs of the laborers. And it's just icky. I mean, it's terrible.
The between the Olympic Association, FIFA, and the FIFA, the Olympics, and the NC2A, like it's hard to find dirty organizations in those three. Those are the cream of the crop as far as just cringeworthy, dirty organizations. There is not a moral bone in any of the people that are making money off of those in those organizations.
You know, and since we're equal opportunity here, throw Nike into that mix.
I'd throw Nike in. Oh, they're part of the driving of a lot of those three. But yeah, it's pretty sad. And those never work out for a country like Brazil. It's not going to do anything. Like Sochi did nothing for Russia. Like as far as like, 'cause that's what they always go like, oh, you know, it's going to bring in this and bring in that.
You need to have a really smart planning for that to even come close to working.
Right.
But that kind of thing, it's too expansive.
It's too expansive. All the stuff that they have to build.
It's all off the grid.
Yeah.
Like if you can put it into it's called high density civic planning. And I had to research this for that story that I did 5 years ago. It's just, it has to be high density, and it has to keep, it's kind of like a Starbucks. You know, people are addicted to Starbucks.
Right.
People will go to a place if you put a Starbucks in it.
Right.
So if you build stuff that will keep people coming back in.
Right.
Then you have an argument that you're going to actually take dollars from the next town over.
Right.
That's the argument. It's like, we're going to take dollars from, if you're a big city, we're going to take them from LA. We're going to take them from San Francisco. We're going to take them from Oakland if you're out in, say, Sacramento.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole thing is, can we take the dollars from somebody else?
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
But in these Olympics plans, I mean, who needs like a high jump arena?
Yeah, you know, like they built like a tennis complex.
Right.
Are they going to start to now have this major Rio tennis tournament every year that's going to bring in all these things? I don't think so. You know, that'll be like, you know, there'll be weeds and stuff growing out of the concrete in about a year and a half. So
Ichiro got 3,000. There was a lot of the stuff that went on. Ichiro got 3,000 hits.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing because doesn't he have like almost 3,000 in Japan too?
I don't know what the number is, but I know he didn't come over here as a rookie.
Yeah,
because he was how old was
20s already.
He was
late
really
20s
old as a rookie, and that's what everybody was upset about when he won Rookie of the Year.
Right. That's right.
3,000 hits, hit a triple to do it, which makes perfect sense.
That's totally fitting. That's great. That's great. He's a great player. He was great. And for a little guy, I mean, he had a cannon too in the field. I mean, he was not someone to run on.
We might not talk about basketball at all in this show.
Basketball, schmasketball.
The Williams sisters lost in doubles.
I know. I didn't
for the first time ever.
I didn't finish that.
That might be the upset of all of mankind.
I knew they were struggling. Did they even get it to a third set?
I don't know.
I think they lost the first set.
I wrote the names down because I felt like they deserve it.
Yeah, right. You beat the Williams
Lucy
sisters.
Safarova and Barbara Strykova.
Barbara Strykova. You got to watch for her, especially in doubles.
Do tell. Why, Koz?
I don't know. I've never heard of Barbara. And I watch tennis quite a bit.
You were going to just take that further and say she's got a mean backstroke?
Nah.
Great second serve?
I don't think they call it a backstroke in tennis. They call it
I got swimming on the brain. I've got actually swimmer's ear right now. I took up swimming, which is an awesome workout. Like,
oh, yeah.
It is the best.
Oh.
And but now I got swimmer's ear because I'm too dumb to keep the water out of my ears. And but yeah, and then that gal Katie Ledecky.
Oh yeah,
I saw a still shot of her race the other night. I mean, it was like her versus as much as like 12-year-olds out there.
She's pretty ridiculous. I remember watching one of the early heats, and even the announcer's like, "Well, she didn't set a world record, okay, like it's the opening heat, but that's how much better she is, that it seems like she sets a world record every single time she gets in there. But even in that heat, she set the Olympic record, and then she went later and she broke her own world record by, I think, 2 seconds or something crazy like that. Like, yeah, that's
pretty crazy if you're beating your own world record by 2 seconds.
Yeah.
If that happened, because I don't trust your data.
It did.
I don't trust your data.
You don't know nothing.
You barely watched that.
You're the one that was talking about the backstroke of tennis players.
I'm not claiming to be awake, or I'm not even claiming this show is good. It's the dog days of August.
Oh, man. You got Stab Boy trying to sweat us out.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, what are we supposed to talk about in the world of basketball these days?
What else happens?
I mean, it's Olympics time, but I mean, everybody's going to that right now. Like, every basketball outlet struggling to keep their head above water during this time is talking about the Olympics. And I don't know. I mean, aside from the fact that there are more teams with NBA players out there, so I think the floor of the talent pool is a little bit higher than, I don't know, maybe not even last year or last Olympics, but just in general, it keeps continuing to rise because of the popularity of the game.
Absolutely.
Blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
There's just not a lot of angles there. So what in the regular NBA, I mean, what are we really talking about here other than Kevin Durant and whether or not he fits?
Well, so Westbrook signed. What was interesting, like that just all that deal did was basically avoid this conversation for just one more year, right?
It makes him more tradable
because
he'll have 2 years after this upcoming
year, so they'll be able to move those bird rights along with
him. Yeah, he's got the bird rights. He's also going to have, meat to the bone, so to speak, if the new team wants to, they're going to have to trade the farm to get him. But I don't know. I felt like, you do this long enough, you figure out how the tea leaves, they work. And Adrian Wojnarowski came out just firing from the beginning. Just like
beginning of what?
The beginning of the what is going to happen with Russell Westbrook period. So once the Durant decision was made, the next shoe to drop was the conversation about what's going to happen with Russell Westbrook.
Right.
David Aldridge, very first thing, says he's not renegotiating his deal. Mm-hmm. Well, that didn't really work out. I love this stuff, which is fine. It's like that's not DA's fault. That's something that he's given, that he puts out there,
right?
And it's put out there for a reason,
right?
My thoughts is I don't like to be used by my sources, so I don't like it when if something I say goes wrong, that's not good,
right?
But that's just the way that this industry works. But Woj, on the other hand, in the battle of the reporters, he came out firing. He's like, why would Russell Westbrook leave? He's got this great team right here, and the Thunder they don't want to trade him. And I'm just sitting there thinking, you can't possibly know all this stuff unless you've either got the goods, something, or mostly that you just know something. And that led me to believe that there was more chance that he would stay than not. And then Woj followed it up with the perfunctory, I did it because I wanted to be the anti-Kevin Durant, for lack of a better term. That article came out shortly after, highlighting, Russell's want and desire to be the man and not go join some super team.
Right.
Which was the quid pro quo, as they call it in the industry.
Yes.
So, Russell has gone. There have been a number of pieces written on this about how now he has gone from villain to hero. He's really just partaking in a Kobe Bryant marketing campaign.
Why was he a villain? I'm confused.
He was a villain because he shot too much. And I'll add, Scott Brooks came out during that first initial playoffs and basically threw him under a bus and said stuff like, we've really got to talk to Russell about, we're playing okay. We, just stuff like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it was pretty clear that he was frustrated as all heck with Russell Westbrook. And in those first playoffs, when Russell took all those shots, that's when the rep came.
Yeah.
And it stuck for years. And He's been taking heat mostly by the uninitiated for years.
Right.
And now there's this easy-to-grasp narrative that Kevin Durant left to go play for the super team.
Right.
So now Russ is the good guy and Kevin's the bad guy. That's like if I was explaining it to a 2-year-old.
Right.
Like, what is really going on here is a whole lot different than that.
It's so funny, the whole shooting too much thing. Like, it's one of those things where obviously you can shoot too much, but players are who they are. Like, everyone, like, there's a reason that LeBron James is awesome and, you know, could get all the assists. Like, those guys don't fall out of trees. That's not everyone's skill set. And people want every player to be able to have this influence on a game that they can make this good. That's not. Russell Westbrook is a scorer. Kobe Bryant is a scorer. Carmelo Anthony is a scorer. Kevin Durant. They're not. It's up to the organization and the coaching staff to put that skill set to work with the other players. So, like, there's always this, oh, this guy chucks it up. Or, you know, like, when Kobe scored 81, they barely won that game. They needed all 81 of those points, you know, but, like, if you just go in a vacuum, oh, that guy, he just wants to shoot it all the time.
Well, that and Sam Mitchell single covered him the entire time and refused to change.
That was also a great.
That's great moments in Sam Mitchell coaching history.
But you know, I mean, the chances of him going for 81 aren't that good. But I think once you get around 60, you'd probably start to maybe throw.
Once you pass historic scoring record,
maybe you throw a just throw a little jab out there. Maybe I'm going to.
Well, and that's the thing with this whole Russ conversation that's mind-numbingly stupid is, like, put Pop on the sidelines, Greg Popovich, and ask yourself, what would Russ be in year 2, year 4, year 6? And his shot selection, and it's probably going to look a lot like Kawhi Leonard.
I don't know if you go that far.
Hey, I'll say this: people think Kawhi Leonard's Mr. Like, I always pass and I don't ever take a bad shot. He takes shots.
No,
like this last year, he turned into an isolation heavy, very ball dominant player, but it looks better because the shot quality is better. The field goal percentage is better.
I don't know if I think he would be like. I think maybe I'm thinking more of a Allen Iverson. A couple of good years with Larry Brown would be the best. I think that's maybe the best you could hope for from, which is good. You know, the year they went to the finals, and you know, I think that version of Allen Iverson, I think, is the best that you could hope for Russell Westbrook. Which is fine.
I don't like that comp because I don't think Russ has anywhere close to the handles that Allen Iverson had, and that made it because Allen Iverson would legitimately sit there and ISO you to death and pick you apart because eventually you would fall off.
Well, I don't think he doesn't. Not to. No one's gonna have
Russ
that.
Doesn't have.
He doesn't need the handles of Iverson. He's way better an athlete though.
Right? Yeah. His moves are quicker.
Right.
Because he can't dribble as much.
Right.
And he just gets to a spot because he could get there.
Right. But I think if, but I'm saying like that version of if you have a coach that is simply going to put him in the right spots, I think that if you can get that kind of a year out of him where he's obviously going to lead the team in shots taken, lead him in scoring, but they're just more efficient and using the talent around him to be some sort of decoys, even though you know that they're not really going to do anything. Like, I think that's the best form of Westbrook that you may be able to get, no matter who the coach is, in my opinion.
I
don't think you could get him to be. I don't think you could get him to be as efficient as Kawhi Leonard.
I will take the other side of that argument, even though that we're never ever going to figure that one out.
Right.
My thoughts were that you stick a guy like that with his particular skill set, his athleticism, and his mentality, and then you throw him into the Scott Brooks offense, which at times forced him to take those shots.
There is no Scott Brooks offense.
There was no offense, and you had 4-on-5.
Right.
And Kendrick Perkins never left the pattern.
Right.
He just stood there in the middle like, I'm involved. look, I'm
calling for the ball.
I'm posting up at the free throw line.
Like the new Patrick Ewing here. Give me the rock, please.
So, it looked terrible, and that reputation, it came out of that. And I just think that those two, their development just got set back.
I would agree with that.
Magnificently by that coaching situation. And to put that on either player now is just, to me, it's unfair.
Sure.
Yeah, there's worse coaches in the league, but we're talking about offensively one of the worst coaches that they could have possibly gotten.
Yeah. And you saw that in the Warriors series, when it started to get tight, it's hard to get out of habits.
They reverted back
to what they did.
But when they were running just slick offense,
right,
the Warriors looked silly.
Yep.
And that's a 73-win team, and now Kevin Durant's over there. So we've been talking about that. I think everybody will continue to talk about that. I hope when the schedule comes out any day now that they buck the trend of going the old finals matchup, and they just go straight to Warriors Thunder in Oklahoma City Christmas morning.
Christmas morning,
yeah.
You would think, right?
That, to me, is the winner.
That's the winner.
And I got some Warriors fans out there that were like, come on now. It's Warriors Cavs. And it's like, we've seen this.
Yeah.
We've seen it in 2 straight finals, and now we're going to see it on Christmas Day again.
Yeah.
And I do too. I want to see that one too.
But that would be the...
I just want to see the hate match.
Yeah.
I want to see the decision when LeBron went back to Cleveland. I want to see it on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Screw all those good feelings.
Yeah.
I want to see them boo a man.
I've said for years, Christmas is way too full of love. It's time
for a marketing holiday.
For a marketing holiday, let's get a little bit of hatred in there. Let's get a little. I want to see that first Steven Adams, screen on Kevin Durant. That's what I want to see.
I want to see Enes Kanter. I want to see Enes Kanter get jammed on by Durant. Because Kanter's been out there on the Instagram. He's pretty good with Photoshop now.
Okay.
So Kevin Durant on the Players Tribune had his story, which you got to put your story out on the Tribune now.
Okay.
I'm changing teams, and it was like him in a vineyard, like looking at the sky, just.
He's like, yes, the Napa Valley. If Oklahoma City had only had one of these. If they only had Napa right next door.
Napa's a great place, man. I know you love it.
I'm not so much a Napa fan as I am just the whole Sonoma wino. County, Russian River and Alexander Valley, but we're getting off the reservation here.
Yeah, just a wino is what we're talking about.
Basically.
So Kanter puts on Russell Westbrook's head onto Kevin Durant's body in that little screenshot, that image for that story. It said something like, I'm staying. And then there was another one where he put Russell Westbrook's head on a Lakers fan meme. It's some cartoon character staring at a computer, probably waiting for it to download.
Oh, no, I think it was, I saw one with the Jordan crying.
Yeah, he put the Jordan crying
on Mitch Kupchak's head, like sitting at a desk in the Lakers office, all depressed.
Now, the interesting thing about Kanter is everybody laughed at his contract. Now he's got a big shot to put up big numbers. We're talking 18 and 10.
Sure.
In a small minute role, 28 minutes a game, and have some efficiency. He's going to become the kind of the figurehead of the efficiency movement, because he had one of the most efficient seasons I've seen in years last year.
He very quietly had a great season.
He's shooting from everywhere. So these numbers, I think I want to say he shot 58% from the field, and it's not just all dunks.
Right. Absolutely.
These are tough, high quality shots that he's making. He's rebounding. Yes, defensively he's a mess.
Right.
But even that, you saw some flashes in the playoffs where he wasn't terrible.
No, he understands. I mean, he's
probably peaking at this stage of his career this year defensively.
He plays hard on defense, and he understands a scheme. It's not like he's way out of position or anything. He's just not very quick. He has no lateral movement.
Well, he doesn't block shots.
And
that's part of that's going for rebounds.
Right.
So that... the yin and the yang with that, a lot of people think blocks are automatically the sign of a great defensive player.
That's just so ridiculous.
There's basically good block attempts and bad block attempts. If they could have a stat that said this was a good block attempt,
right,
then we'd all figure it out.
Right.
But there's no way to. Well, maybe there is, but
but no one's done it yet.
Assistant coaches have these types of stats.
Right.
They're the ones that sit there and they go, "Oh, that was dumb." Check.
Well, you have to really rein in if you have a shot blocking young guy. That's where they're always in foul trouble because they're. It's like you have to sit there like you don't need to try to block that shot.
Well, and that's why Hassan Whiteside is so amazing.
Yeah, he's good
because he's getting the blocks and he's getting the rebounds.
And the rebound, yeah.
And so when you see these, it's like blocks, rebounds, and steals are three different facets of the game where blocks represent vertical movement, steals represent horizontal movement, and then rebounds represent protecting the rim, in a sense, or protecting the glass. And they're all kind of in the same hustle stat category, but they're in different, they manifest themselves in different ways. So when you get somebody that gets two or three or all three categories, that's a player that's all over the place.
Right.
So Hassan,
and some blocks are just bad offense too.
What was interesting about Hassan,
like some people forget about that.
Yeah, that's true.
And some of it's just like, why did you shoot that against that guy?
Well, and if those in fantasy know that if you're playing a team that has a guy like it was a DeMarcus Cousins that just flings stuff up from the inside with willy nilly, like I got the board, and this is earlier in his career he was worse at this, but he would just throw up garbage, and they'd just be standing right there and just slam it back in his face, Think real quick about Hassan, and I think we'll probably check out is Hassan had 4 blocks a game on the road and 3.6 at home. So you figure you got 41 games on the road, 41 games at home. There's no chance that you've got road stat keepers that are just going rogue, calling stuff that's not a block, a block. And made me wonder, is either the Heat stat keeper, is he or she, or are they just conservative as all hell with the blocks? Or is the nightlife in South Beach that good?
Could be, but it also could be that the perimeter defense is better at home, too.
That's what another thing I was thinking.
Yeah, that could be. On the road, people are just worse, especially your role players. So I could see that nightlife on the road coming back to haunt you, come game time, and then him having to make up for that. I would venture to guess that would be the bigger issue than their stat keepers.
I just finished the Brewski 150. Haven't done the final rankings, but I've done all the projections, and once you dive into the numbers, you get a real good sense for what's going on with players and teams and just everything in between. So you start to see little trends like that.
Off the top, have you got a chance to watch that 30 for 30, the Shaq and Penny, the one magic moment?
Yeah, I watched at least, I want to say, most of it.
Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal, he's my favorite player of all time.
Wow.
I love Shaquille O'Neal. But even you forget how much of a freak that guy was when he was in Orlando.
Well, Penny, he changed some stuff with the way the NBA was considered. Right. And I know there was Magic Johnson but
he was a lot more athletic than Magic ever was.
Yeah,
he was a real good athlete. But Shaq was just flying around, 305 pounds of lean, just ran like a 6'7" guy, just. He was incredible. Well, he was absolutely incredible.
You see stories like Nick Anderson, and I guess people do realize this. It's not like we're breaking any news here, but sports are tough,
right?
And you can see the weight of sports crush somebody.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it's not because they're not trying. Right. It's not because of anything other than for whatever reason, it happened.
Right.
He missed his free throws. And then after that, he just couldn't recover.
Yeah, because he didn't want to go to the line.
It ruined his career.
Because he was a big guard. He was a big 6'6", thick guy that could post up, went into the lane, got hit. That was his game. So that really set him back. What I like about a lot of these things is that, that was whatever that was, 15, 20 years ago. And you know what you find from when they interview guys, like how honest they are this far away from it. Like Shaq really like saying like, yeah, dude, when we lost that game 1, we were crushed. We couldn't get it. We didn't think we could win. Like guys would never say that 2 years removed, for 4 years removed. But this far away, they're honest. They're like, yeah, we just had no answer. They beat us in that game, and the series was over. You know, like guys never give in like that when they're close to it. So I always like these documentaries because you actually get the real honesty out of the players and the coaches.
Well, it helps that Shaq's pretty much just brutally honest all the time.
In general, he is. But I mean, all the guys I interviewed, Dennis Scott, and there was a lot of guys that were on that team. But
my favorite Dennis Scott. This is way off the reservation. Dennis Scott is like one of the nicest dudes that's out there.
Right.
And there was him just getting irie at a kid's camp.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a contract dispute.
He had the worst day. He must have had the worst day because I've never seen that guy without a smile on his face. Exactly. And everybody I've talked to that's hung out with him has nothing but the best to say. And that was his moment. Everybody gets their moment.
His just happened to be caught on TV. He pulls up the truck. He's got the music blasting. These little kids are sitting there like, when's he going to sign my shirt? And he's screaming about his contract. It was awesome. But that poor guy, and I'm glad that's not, I mean, you have to be kind of a nerd like us to even remember that. But like, it would suck if that was what
that was
your
lasting moment. Yeah,
that would just suck.
That's the thing in today's era. Like, with the Twitter and social media era, there's so much chance that you get defined by some dumbass moment,
right?
And it's a little bit sad because it's taken away from our spontaneity.
Absolutely.
And just as a culture, as I'm sure as players,
Sure.
like we want them to be colorful and entertaining, and then the second that they get out of the lane, we're all over them,
right.
and that's part of the beast, and that's why you get paid so much. But it's a more boring culture, I think, as a result. So, anyway, that's it for today's show. Did you have anything else you would like to add?
No, I'm good on that. I want to. No, that's about it. I'm good. I thought that was tight and to the point.
In a show where we talked about nothing, tight and to the point.
Is there any?
I'm sure that the 5-star reviews that we're gonna get are gonna be like, that show was tight and on point.
Were they any? Are you looking forward to anything coming up this week? Besides the Olympics and where's Hoda?
Should play a game. Where's Hoda? And I'm sure the people on the ground at the Olympics in Rio have odds,
I'm sure
real accurate odds on where's Hoda.
I bet you whatever hotel they're staying at, I guarantee you in the hotel bar.
That's messed up.
When Hoda walks in, they're like, Hoda! After a long day of coverage, Hoda, and she made no mistake about saying that how great this place was going to be and how great it was and how much fun she's having. I'm not saying she's doing anything wrong, but she's certainly... You're not going to hear any
if there was more Hodas in the world, this world would be a better place.
I'm with you.
That's what I barely know the lady.
I'm on Team Hoda.
I'm on Team Hoda, too.
I'm on Team Hoda.
I watch her every 5 months on the Today Show. But I've got a good feeling about her.
I do.
No, I'm really looking forward. We are pumping out some big stuff for fantasy heads everywhere. Our draft guide's coming out. Probably, I want to say early September, but then I'll probably try to surprise you guys with an earlier release.
Ooh.
And the projections, like I said, I just got them finished, so they're the best in the business. I'm not going to lie. And every single year when we put them out there, they always produce. And the only person out there that's probably close is a guy named Eric Wong, who is really good at this stuff. So Wong, if you're listening, this is me giving you some dap. But I have beat you twice now.
Oh.
So you better bring your A game this year in the FBA, which is the most competitive fantasy league in the country, in the world. It highest entry fee, biggest ringers. It's like a Matt Damon Ringers movie.
Ooh.
It's that good. we're going to bring out the fantasy draft guide, and then we're going to have in-season coverage, and then we got some guys doing some crazy stuff with numbers. I'm not going to lie. Like, they're trying to crack the basketball genome of something. It's over my head.
Right.
But what they're doing is fantastic, and hopefully that'll be a part of our in-season offering this year, which is for stat heads. Really, really cool. If you're a stat head, just kind of maybe keep your ear to the ground on some stuff that we've got brewing up. So, yeah, big stuff at hoop-ball.com.
Word up.
So that'll be it for today. You can follow the show online at www.facebook.com /KOZANDBRU show.
Don't forget the
www. Yeah, don't forget the slash. God knows where you'll end up.
Brothel.
But I only had one drink. www.KOZANDBRUshow.com and Twitter. KOZANDBRUshow.com. We're out.
Peace.
I totally did.
Well,